So this is basically what an offer looks like. Buyer makes the offer. The seller responds in one of three ways. They can counter the offer, they can accept the offer, or they can reject the offer. Really, it's funny that they say in one of three ways, because really there's a fourth way that's kind of secret and kind of not the best way to go if you're representing the seller, but they can also just ignore it. They don't have to respond. But I think it's important that you know that, because it is another way that they can go. But the three ways they should go is counter the offer, accept the offer, reject the offer. Do you have any questions on what any three of those mean? Do you know what countering means?
Yes.
Okay, and you
Very
know accepting the offer and rejecting the offer. So
Yeah.
from there, if the seller counters the offer, that means that they're in negotiations. They are saying, hey, I like your offer, but I want to negotiate the terms or the price, something like that, right? That's them saying, I like your offer, but I think we can do a little bit better. They can accept the offer, which begins the process of being in escrow, getting to the close, all of that. Rejecting the offer, buyer agent contacts listing agent to learn more. Don't assume no means no. So we're going to get into this a little bit more as we talk about the process, but if they reject the offer, I would for sure be calling the listing agent saying, hey, what did they not like? At least so I know how to move forward in the future. But I'm going to tell you at that point, I'm going to already know before they reject it what's going on. For instance, I'm taking some clients to see 3 properties tonight, and I've already been in contact with all of the agents asking them, hey, do you have any offers on the table? One of the houses we're going to see, I know that they do have an offer in hand, but the seller didn't like it at all. It's contingent on them selling their home that's been on the market for 120 days. That's not a strong offer. So he's holding off for another weekend. He wants to see if he can get more eyes on the property, and I think that's the best option for him. I think my point is that you need to be in contact with the listing agent if you are representing the buyer as much as possible. Don't be a pain. Don't make him, cringe when he sees your name. However, be in contact, be that person that's advocating for your client. Know what's going on with the property, because I'm going to guarantee you this. Your client will ask you, do they have any offers? Do you think that they would accept less? Now, I did reach out to that agent and say, hey, can you tell me where that offer stands? Is it asking above or below? I don't expect him to tell me the price of the offer. Sometimes that happens, not all the time. I would never really want to disclose that information, but I think it's fair to ask above asking or below, just so we know where to come in. Like, what is going to be a strong offer for your client? Now, if the strong offer for your client is $40,000 over and my client is not comfortable making that and the comps aren't there, well, good luck selling the house, buddy. But do you get my drift? Like, you need to know what's going on with the property before you go into it. So let's talk about preparing the offer. Remember, your relationship with the listing agent begins at first contact. So when I say that, that's what I mean. When I sent my clients the property that we're going to go see tonight, I sent it to them. Whether they like it or not, I don't know. They said, yes, we want to go see it. I immediately text the listing agent, because that was the instructions in MLS. Text the listing agent for an appointment. I said, hi, my name's Melinda Tucker with Keller Williams. Nice to meet you. I have clients interested in your property at 123 Main Street. Can we go see it tomorrow at 7:30 p.m.? He says, let me check with the seller. He gets back and says, yes. And we start having a conversation about offers, blah, 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 right? That's your first point of contact. So when I tell you, remember your relationship with the listing agent begins at first contact, be nice, be professional. Okay. If you've never worked with that agent before, this is likely when you make the first appointment. When you contact them prior to writing the offer, you're building a positive working relationship. Be courteous and professional in your inquiries. So let's talk about prepare to write an offer. Ensure the property is still available. What do you think that means?
That they haven't accepted an offer, maybe.
Right. So if you go to see the property on Monday and your clients are like, oh, I need to think about it for a day or two. I have a feeling that something might come on the market tomorrow. Well, then you get to tomorrow, nothing comes on the market. They've thought about it. They want to write an offer. Go back to MLS, make sure that it's not pending already. And I would also go a step further and reach out to the agent and say, hey, good news. We saw the property on Monday and we're getting ready to submit an offer. That way they're going to respond to you and be like, oh, you know what? We just accepted it. We're getting ready to change it in MLS, which means they won't even look at your offer. They've already accepted an offer, right? So step one, ensure the property is still available. Very, very important, because it would just suck. What does that mean if you did not do that step? Or let's say you couldn't really confirm it with the agent, but it still says available on MLS. Worst case scenario, you send over the offer and the agent tells you, I'm sorry, we've already accepted an offer. Okay. Oh, I need to take off my watch because it keeps trying to send text messages. Number two, build rapport with the listing agent. That again begins when you first reach out to them at first point of contact, normally to book the appointment. Sometimes when you show a property, you go through what's called showing time. That's an app. And it's actually amazing because you don't have to deal with anybody. However, it kind of takes out that first point of contact. I just booked an appointment for tonight through showing time. After I'm done teaching today, I will send an email or a text to the agent saying, hi, we have an appointment at 7:15 tonight. Thank you so much. Look forward to viewing your listing, or I don't know, something creative, but that's what I would do. Inquire about activity. We've discussed that already. So when you go to show a property, you want to ask them, what's the activity going on? And a lot of times agents will say, well, I've had a lot of people say they're going to submit an offer, but I have nothing in hand. Now, in hand means that they have something in their email, and at that point, you want to ask them, when are you reviewing with your seller? That's the best question to ask, because that tells you when you need to have the offer in if your clients are interested. So I reach out to an agent. Hey, do you have any offers in hand? Yes, I have 3 offers in hand. That's probably all they're going to tell you, because they really don't need to tell you anything else. My response would be, great. We are considering writing an offer as well. When will you be reviewing with your client? Now, I will tell you this, the sooner you get that offer in, the better, because I've had an agent tell me we are reviewing offers tomorrow at 8 a.m. I submitted an offer the night before and he said, sorry, we've already accepted an offer. Oh, okay. So you lied. Either that, or they just received an offer that they couldn't say no to. So, I always tell my clients straight up, this is what the agent said. However, that could change at any moment. So if you're interested in writing an offer, let's do it. Let's, because writing an offer on my end probably takes at minimum a half hour. Your first time will probably take you closer to an hour. Now, if it's your first time writing an offer, you're probably going to want to have someone review it, like your coach or your mentor or whoever. But you want to make sure that, the terms and conditions are all right. I wanted to make sure I had somebody review it. So that again puts another hour, depending on how easy your coach is to get a hold of, or if they're in a meeting, or if they're teaching at night or whatever, right?
I wouldn't know how to write an offer.
Yeah, it's not as hard as you would think. Last week
where would I review that? Where would I get the documents from so I could review that? Because I have I think like 3 meetings coming up with potential buyers.
Okay, perfect. That's exciting.
I watched Amy's video on meeting with your buyers, and then she had another YouTube video where she actually held it for the agents and kind of went through the process. But I wouldn't, that's just like how you inform them and what you tell them. But I wouldn't know, like, once they found a house, and I know I would work with Amy, but I would like to review
we discussed that a little bit last week, and that's California Association of Realtors. And then you're going to go to the transactions portion. And then you're going to find the documents there. It's going to take you a minute, I'm not going to lie. So get in there and start playing around with it, because you don't want to be not knowing where to go, at least to find the forms when you absolutely need them. Like, you want to know where to get them prior to writing an offer. And last week I suggested going in there and playing around with it, pulling up a contract and just filling it out for yourself, just to get to know the forms a little bit better. So I would suggest you doing that, especially because you have 3 buyers coming up. That's so exciting for you. Good job.
And I have a potential seller that I've been working with Amy, but the new, which I guess she'll let me know Monday if she's going to go ahead and sign with me, but she's in Plumas Lake, and she's been talking, I guess, to her other friends who are realtors, but for some reason they don't service Plumas Lake, but they told her, either her realtor friend or her boss told her to go through that open door. And they're hardly offering her anything for her house, but she doesn't want to deal with open houses or pay anything or
Yeah, I would recommend you talking to your coach about open door. I know a little bit about open door, but not enough to give you more direction. Than that's probably not in her best interest.
that's what I told, that's what I told her. So she said they're coming out on, I think she said either Friday or Saturday, to give her an evaluation. And for some reason, she thought that they weren't going to charge her any fees, but they told her that they do charge, it still has to go.
I mean, I would tell her the truth. How do you think they stay in business?
Right. And
They
so,
have to make money. So
and
yeah,
so
I would definitely have that conversation with your coach,
I
just
did.
because,
I talked to Amy, and so basically, if she doesn't like their offer, then she'll probably sign with us on Monday, or she'll let me know on Monday if she's going to
Perfect.
sign with
So it
us.
sounds like you have homework to do this weekend. You need to get more familiar with those forms.
Yes.
I would challenge you to do that.
Okay.
Okay. So I think we are on number 3, which is inquire about activity. I think we've covered that pretty well. Inquire about other offers on the property. We kind of talked about that. Why did they fall through? That's a really important question. So sometimes properties will be on the market for a really long time, and you can tell in MLS that they, were in contract and they fell through. Ask them why. Why is that important? Because if there's a huge pest problem and your client is a VA client, then you need to know that. Well, maybe this isn't the best property for us, Ask questions about seller motivations and needs. Why does the seller need to move? Why is that important? Well, because if they're in bankruptcy and foreclosure on their property, that means that they have to make a certain amount of money. Why is that important? Because you don't want to waste anybody's time, your client's time, or the other agent's time. If they need to make $350,000 and your client is not willing to go above 325, don't bother. Make sense? Obtain the buyer's pre-approval from lender. That should be done before you even start looking at houses. Every single client of yours, including your friends and your family, are going to tell you, I can get pre-approved, no problem. Well, I don't doubt that, but I need to know that you are on board 100%, and getting pre-approved has got to be probably the part that no one likes to do. It takes time. It makes them look through their tax documents. It makes them work. This is the part that they have to really work on, getting the pre-approval. And if you're not willing to work, why should I, right? Now, obviously, you don't got to be that frank, but I'm just trying to give you some insight. So obtain the buyer's pre-approval from lender. That's the other reason why we don't go looking at houses without a pre-approval first, is because you can't send over an offer without that pre-approval. No agent will even entertain it. And they're not going to hold the property. Oh, you didn't get pre-approved? Let me wait a week while your clients dig through their tax documents, right? Review MLS and tax records. That's important. You need to know who owns the home. Any documents in MLS, sometimes there are reports in there. produce a comparative market analysis, obtain a seller disclosure statement and other needed documents, which there's a lot. That's why I love CAR though, because, or zip forms, because, hello, ma'am. My dog's saying hi to me. Because if you know, when you're going down the questions, it'll say what type of loan for your client. If you click VA, it's going to pull up the correct forms that are needed for VA. Okay. So let's talk about writing the offer. Price and terms, seller disclosures, conveyances, earnest money, due diligence and inspection period, time for seller acceptance, financing terms, buyer pre-approval letter, closing date, home warranty, repair limits, special clauses, and addenda. That's all stuff you're going to find in the offer. Sounds like a lot, right? It is a lot. Remember, do not submit a love letter with your offers. As a listing agent, do not present these to your sellers. Bruce covered that in, I think, the class last week and this week. It's not something that you can help your clients with if your clients want to do that on their own and address it and mail it on their own. It just can't be presented with the offer. Talk through the offer. I'm going to walk you through the entire contract. No, I'm not. Make sure that, I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes. Hang on a second. Oh, you might see my son come out too. Hang on one second. I'm just going through my notes. Okay, so in the Ignite course, they want me to walk you through the contract, but we have a broker who does that. So that's why we're skipping over that portion of it. Talk through the offer, review the contract, be sure your buyer understands the contract, review details like price, closing date, inspection, contingencies, conveyances, etc. Know what is essential in your area, know standard or common terms for offers in your area, and avoid rookie agent mistakes. Review the contract. If you have not done that, you need to do that. You need to review it enough so that when you're writing an offer, you don't get to a portion and you're like, crap, I don't know what this means. I need to call Bruce. I need to call my coach. I need to call John. I need to call Sam. That can't happen. I mean, it can happen, but you personally can't get upset if all of those people are not available because you need them right now and you didn't do your job to review the contract. You will have questions on it. You will not know how to fill it out. You need to get all those questions out of the way now. You will still have questions when you go write the offer because every offer is different and you're not going to know. That's okay. That's why it's good you're with Keller Williams, because we have so many amazing people that are willing to help you. I will tell you though, I've been in the coaching program. Your coach expects certain things out of you, not just Amy, any coach, if you really think about it. But if you are meeting with a buyer on Friday, you should already be in contact with your coach. Hey, I have a buyer appointment on Friday. I need to go over a few things with you before then. When are you free? Are you free before Friday? I need about 30 minutes of your time. That's setting yourself up to win. Don't text your coach on Friday 5 minutes before saying, oh my God, I have an appointment in 5 minutes. Why aren't you calling me back? I need to talk to you. That's not fair for anyone. Okay. Prepare yourself for success. So review the contract. Do that if you haven't. Be sure your buyer understands the contract. So that kind of goes back to the first one, review the contract. Do you understand the contract? Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to explain it to your clients. So make sure you and your buyer understands the contract. It's long. I'm telling you right now. And you're going to need to know how to tell them in layman's terms what each portion means. Review details like price, closing date, inspection, contingencies, and conveyances. Know what is essential in your area. What I think this part means is like, I'm closing on a house today that's in Pollock Pines. It's a high fire zone. So their mortgage payment went up because they have to have extra insurance. I think that's what it means. Also, we have a lot of homes in our areas that have HOAs. That's really important to know. So make sure that those types of things, right? Flood zone, all of that thing. It was funny because Bruce was talking in his class yesterday about natural disasters and being in an earthquake zone. I'm like, we live in California. I'm pretty sure everywhere is an earthquake zone here. No standard or common terms for offers in your area. Avoid rookie agent mistakes. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. You're probably going to make them, but you have a great team behind you that is going to help you to avoid them. Any questions, comments, anything you want to chat about before we move on? You're like, so many questions.
Yeah, I think because it is overwhelming.
It is.
There's a lot of information. And then when I start doing it, I mean, I'm learning a lot but like when I got off the phone with one of the people, I realized, okay, I should have said this. So I think role playing will probably be good. But what I did was I wrote down my notes so that I know for the next time, okay, this is how I need to address that.
Right. And I will tell you that that's not bad that you may have missed something. That's okay. I do that all the time. What I would tell you is follow it up with the text.
Yeah, well, I
Hey,
think
I forgot to mention this.
I think
hey, I got to thinking about that, and this is a better answer, or whatever, however you want to respond.
Because one of the it's my husband's cousin who reached out to me because we haven't seen him for a really, really long time. And but he reached out to me on one of my social media posts that I posted, this is what I'm doing now, blah, blah, blah. So he reached out to me and said that him and his wife wanted to it was time for them to buy a home. And so I went through the process, and I think he was confused in thinking that I was the lender. So I told him, no, I will help you find a house, and I have lenders that I know, but and I'll let you know what you need before you go to the lenders and blah, blah, blah. But I think that, I don't know, after that, he sounded, because I'm not the lender.
Well, I would encourage you that's a very common mistake that people make. They don't know. I mean, the deal I'm closing on today, he knows that I'm not the lender, but he doesn't know who does what. He still reaches out to me for everything. So what I try to tell people is I will be your guide through this entire process. If you have a question, you don't know who to ask, please ask me.
And that's what I did. I told him, whatever questions you have. I think his wife is a little bit nervous to buy a home, which I understand, but I told him I'd be more than happy to sit with him and his wife, that I'm available after he gets off of work, because he gets off of work really late. And so
I'm going to be honest with you, Edith. I think role playing is going to be the best thing for you, because it was one of the best things for me, because I was always afraid to have those conversations with people because I was afraid I wasn't going to know how to respond. So even if you are the client and you role play with someone who is acting as the agent, and you bring up like, well, what if I can't afford the house payment in a year? You know what I mean? Then rent it out. Because you can rent it for probably for the amount, you know what I mean? Like there's a whole lot of different scenarios that can come up, and you're only going to know how to respond if you are in the situation with the client, or if you're role playing with someone else. Role play with your significant other, or role play with your sister, or role play with a friend. It doesn't have to be an agent, but you be the agent and have them be the client, but you're not going to know how to respond unless you're in the situation. Right. Yeah. But I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it's a lot. I start getting like, oh my goodness.
Well, you are taking all the right steps.
Amy's been great. Like I text her a lot. She's probably like, oh my God, it's her again.
That's all right. That's what she's there for. Okay, let's talk about presenting the offer. Double check all documents, follow instructions, label all documents clearly, order documents logically, email summary, notify the listing agent, add documents to command, consult with your buyer. So let's talk about this. Let's break it down a little bit. Double check all your documents. That's an important step. But I will tell you that if you're going through a car and you're using DocuSign does a really good job about telling you who needs to sign where and initialing. If you miss an initial or you miss a signature, it's not necessarily the end of the world. I've missed an initial before and they've just come back saying, hi, we've accepted your offer. However, there was an initial missed. Please have them initial here. I'm like, oh crap. You know what I mean? Dumb DocuSign. But it's important to check all the documents. Follow instructions. What does that mean? I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not reading the descriptions in MLS, you need to be. That's what that means, in my opinion. I don't know if they're going for something else there, but MLS is going to tell you how to submit the offer. So if you email or if you text the agent, hey, how can I submit this offer? They're going to be like, really, Melinda? It says it right there in MLS. I put it there for you. It lists my email address. It says what you need to do. Go do it. Normally, it's through email. I have had a property that I had to submit it on this bidding website, and it was super difficult. I hated every minute of it. We did win the bid. We had to end up getting out of contract due to some other reasons, but emailing is normally the way they want you to submit the offer. So follow instructions, do your job. This is your job to find out how to submit the offer, and it's not texting the agent and asking. If it's not in MLS, by all means, call or text the agent, but I guarantee you it's in MLS. Label all documents clearly. What does that mean? You want to stand out as an image. This is if you are representing the buyer. You want to stand out to the agent as much as possible as the agent that they want to work with. Okay, so what does that mean? Labeling all documents clearly. You're going to have 5 or 6 documents to send over to them with the offer. So when you download it from DocuSign, it's probably going to be some name like document 45679 SVG. I don't know, making something up, right? Rename it offer or offer/Edith, whatever. And then the pre-qualification letter, rename it to say pre-qualification letter, Edith. Does that make sense? Because when you're looking in your email and you have 6 documents and let's say you renamed it to document 1, document 2, document 3. I guarantee you if that agent has that in his email and he has 7 other offers and another agent has properly, it's just going to make you look better and the offer stand out a little bit more, maybe not stand out a little bit more, but he's going to be like, man, this agent really did their job. Okay, so label your documents clearly. Order documents logically. I don't really know what that means because if you rename documents, it's going to drag and drop it to whoever you want. I don't think that that's as important as labeling them correctly, but it is listed here, so obviously it is. Email summary, what does that mean? Have an email draft in your email that you can use on all of your offers. It should include something, you know, like a greeting. Thank you so much for letting my clients view your home. They absolutely loved it. Here are the offer terms. So what you want to do is in the email body, you want to tell them what to expect in the attached documents. We're offering you $2. We are at a 15-day inspection contingency. We're asking for a 5% seller credit. We have a 10-day loan contingency and a 10-day appraisal contingency. The loan is for a veteran or whatever the case may be. You don't want them to miss anything in the offer, and you want to give them a snapshot of what they have to expect. Okay. Notify the listing agent. So let's say in MLS, it says to email the offer over. You email the offer over. I would follow up with a text to the agent. Hi, we've sent you an offer. So excited to hear your response or whatever, you know, be cheesy. Add all documents to command. If you're a new agent, you're required to use the transaction coordinator in our office for your first 3 transactions. So you would not have to worry about this part. I would never go through a transaction without a transaction coordinator because I don't want to do that part. I don't like documents. I don't like that tedious work. I'm going to pay someone else to do it. So adding your documents to command, your TC will do. Consult with your buyer. Hey, buyer, good news. You've signed all the documents. It's officially submitted. Now, in our contract that you signed, we gave them 48 hours to respond. So now we play the waiting game. Okay? Let your buyer know. I think I said this last week, but if my client has to ask me the question, I feel I haven't done my job. I want to tell them the answer before they ask it. So if they have to text you saying, hey, did we submit that offer? Yes, absolutely we did. So sorry, I got busy. But tell them before they have to ask you. Receive and respond. Make sure offer is complete. Confirm receipt of offer. Okay, so this is in regards to if you are representing the seller. Make sure the offer is complete. So if I receive an offer and it doesn't have a pre-qualification letter, that's not a complete offer. I have no idea if your client can really qualify for this amount that they are offering me. Okay. Confirm receipt of offer. That just means that I guess that's representing the buyer. Hey, did you receive my offer? Perfect. Get offer to seller in timely manner. That is true. However, if Amy's really good at this, she lists properties on Thursdays or Fridays, does open houses all weekend, and has in the MLS, we are reviewing offers Monday morning or Monday by 5 p.m. Okay. So get offers to your sellers in a timely manner. Yes and no. If you have 10 offers in your email and you have 5 other offers on its way, do you want to submit one at a time or do you want to show them all together? You probably want to show them all together, right? Yeah. Create executive summary. That just means that you'll probably, if you have 10 offers in hand, you're probably going to want to sit down with your seller and say, hi, we have 10 offers. Here's the stack of them. On top of each offer, I've given you the summary. This one is offering you 500,000 with no contingencies. These over here, blah, blah, blah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Call the buyer's agent. Call the lender. It says if allowed in this area, which it is. People do it all the time. I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm representing the buyer, I'm going to want to work with a lender that just calls. I'm going to want to work with a lender that I'm putting on the email because I want that agent to know that this is a legit offer and they are legitimately pre-qualified for the property. And once that email goes through, I want my lender to call or text and be like, hi, I just wanted to let you know that I'm a real person. This person is 100% pre-qualified. We really actually do need 15 days like the agent said, or 30 days or whatever. And I'm so excited to work with you. That's what I want. But anyways, if you're representing the seller, call the lender, make sure it's a legit offer, call the buyer's agent, make sure, have that conversation. Create an outline document to reference when you go to the sellers. Come on. Create an offer in command. You don't necessarily have to do this if you have a transaction coordinator, but they're telling you, reminding you to use command, use command, use command. Now that we've talked through your role in analyzing the offer as a listing agent, it's time to present it to your sellers. Be ready for a deep conversation about the offer or offers you received. Now that you've made sure there are no questions or surprises, pass on to your clients all the pertinent information about the buyers and their offers. So what does that mean? They will ask you questions. They don't know what everything in the contract means. They don't know why there's an appraisal contingency, a loan contingency, and an inspection contingency. They're going to need you to explain that to them. Do you know that? If you don't know that, you need to. So that might be a conversation you need to have with your client. Okay, so I think it's important to Heck, even show them this slide. Sometimes people need a visual. This is the process. We've received offers. You have one of three options that you can choose. You can counter, which means we negotiate the offer. You can accept the offer, or you can reject the offer. Reach a decision, counter offer. That means we're in negotiations. Accept the offer. That means we're in contract. Reject the offer. As the listing agent, once you've presented the offer, it's your turn to consult with the seller and respond to the offer. You need to help your client come to a decision about how they would like to respond. You explain the positives and the negatives of the offer and various responses, and then it's their turn to make the decision. Notice how I said they will ask you questions, and here it literally says, you will need to help your client come to a decision about how they would like to proceed. Explain the positives and the negatives of each offer and how it affects them. Counter the offer. Consult with your client to determine a reasonable counter offer. Notice how it says reasonable. In the real estate world, it needs to be a win-win, a win for the seller and a win for the buyer. If it's not a win-win, then there's no deal. Okay. I've told plenty of buyers that. I was working with a buyer and she just wanted to write lowball offer after lowball offer. And I had to have a come to Jesus moment with her. And I was like, let's look at the trend. You have put in, 2 offers, $50,000 under asking, and we haven't won a bid. And they all have other offers. Do you think that we're going to continue do you think that we're going to win a bid coming in $50,000 under? We're not in that market right now. Right? So you have to be realistic with them. Following the rules for your market, write the counter offer on the correct form and have the seller sign it. Remember, a counter offer is a rejection of the initial offer. Remember, there are risks to haggling over 500 or even 5,000. The buyers could find another property, right? They could wait, but may not. Reject the offer. If the offer is unreasonable, the seller, sorry, I lost my place. The seller can reject it. Is it up to the seller if they would like to offer the buyer the chance to submit a new offer? Oh no, it is up to the seller. So it says reject the offer. If the offer is unreasonable, the seller can reject it. I'm going to backtrack. They can reject it no matter what. They don't have to, even if it's an amazing offer. Remember, you can only tell other parties what the seller has instructed you to disclose. For example, if the seller rejects an offer and are happy for you to tell the buyer's agent the terms they would accept, you can do that. You cannot tell the buyer's agent that information unless the seller gives you permission. I would be honest with you and honest with the sellers. It would only help. You know what I mean? It's not going to hurt to be, because the thing is that if you have a client who doesn't want to tell, like if the client says, I want my asking price, let's say the offer came in below asking price and they want that asking price, it's not going to hurt to tell them your offer was too low. You don't have to tell them they want asking price, because what if they submit another offer above asking price? More money for your client, right? Your offer was too low. You need to come up. Now, if they say how much, well, we're not willing to really entertain anything below asking. So again, I've seen Amy write offers below asking, and she submitted documents with comparables saying, hey, I can't find any comps on your property at the price you're asking. Can you help me out with that? You know what I mean? Hang on one second. Eli, can you bring me one of those energy drinks in the fridge? Yeah. Thank you. Multiple offer situations. The same goes for a multiple offer situation. Perhaps the seller likes one offer best, and it comes with the closing date that is sooner than you would like. You can go to the buyer's agent and consult to see if the buyers would be willing to do a longer close. If so, the agent can either alter their offer or go into a counter offer if they know their offer will be accepted. So that's terms. those are generally easier. I mean, it might not be easier for your buyer if they have no place to live and they need in it the second it closes. Maybe it's not the best fit for them, right? Of course, in a multiple offer situation, you can also call for the highest and best from all your offers. What does that mean? You email everyone. Hi, I've received multiple offers and I'm calling for your highest and your best. That means that the agents have a chance to go back to their clients and say, hi, you need to decide whether you're going to come up, maybe release some terms, or if you'd like to keep searching for another house. That's how that conversation goes. As with any deal you do as a new agent, you should be consulting your broker or coach at each step to be sure you are compliant with all the rules and regulations for your market and market center. That's really important. You have both. You have Bruce and you have your coach. Okay. So lean on them. Anything you want to talk about?
Not right now.
Questions, concerns? Okay. So we are going to take a quick break after we read this. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. I just love that. I think it's perfect. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back at 2 p.m.
Okay.
Sounds good. See you then.
Okay.
Latios more.
Okay, it's 2:00. Let's get started on negotiating offers. Oh, it's kind of cold in my house. I can't hear you if you're talking to me.
Sorry, I had it on mute. My dogs were going crazy. So would you say for my homework, in case her name is Cecilia, in case she decides to sign with me to list her house, I should go over the documents to list her house, like because she hasn't signed anything with me yet, because she's still
Yeah,
just
you need to review the listing. Yeah.
agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wouldn't know, like it asks like, for example, it'll ask, I'm not clear on how you have to have a begin date and an end date. How is that decided? Is it, because I'm not,
That's decided by you and your client.
okay,
I would encourage you to talk to Amy.
okay,
I think that I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how most agents do it, but I think some agents do it for a long period of time, just because you never know how long it'll take to sell the property. Discuss that with Amy.
yeah, I'm gonna reach out to her today, but I'm gonna review the documents because I want to be ready to go on Monday. If I have to drive over there or however she wants to do, because I haven't seen the house or anything, because she wants it as is, and she doesn't
Yeah.
really want open houses, but you have to have open houses, right?
No, you don't have to.
So, but
I mean, if the seller doesn't want open houses, then that's your answer. But I think that you can encourage her to understand why open houses are important.
Right.
But she could get an offer without open houses. That happens.
Okay,
Yeah. I mean, it's really all what she wants. Open houses mean more eyes on the property. So, yeah.
okay,
But I understand if she doesn't want open houses, she doesn't want open houses. She doesn't want random people in her home. She doesn't want to have to put everything up, blah, blah, blah. She's going to have showings though. I mean, I guess she doesn't have to, but people are going to need to see the home.
well, yeah, I don't think I would want to buy a home unless I saw it.
Well, yeah, it's not encouraged. I mean, I say this, no one should be writing an offer on a home they haven't seen. However, what happens when people buy homes out of state? So I think that it happens. It's just not really the best practice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about negotiating offers. Negotiating is not something to be avoided or feared. It's an everyday part of life. I think it's important for us to understand this quote for everything we do. I mean, it doesn't have to be something that we just stick to real estate. You know what I mean? We can apply this in our everyday lives. So get good and get comfortable. The most important thing is getting comfortable with negotiations. I've also had to say that to other agents. Hey, let's make this a win-win for both of us. Can we meet in the middle? Like, you know what I mean? Now you're going to have clients who don't feel that it should be a win-win and they just want to win. And those are going to be harder, and probably you need to discuss that with your coach when those come up. But negotiation is an important part of your real estate job. In Ignite, you've learned through NAR statistics that a real estate agent's ability to negotiate is one of the top reasons buyers and sellers look for an agent to help them in their search or sale. So get good and get comfortable with negotiating. Okay. We don't expect you to be the top negotiator right now, but you need to know that it's going to be part of your job and you're going to need to know how to navigate through it, which hopefully today's class will help you. Negotiating is a bargaining process, and bargaining is a give and take process between two or more parties, each with its own aims, needs, and viewpoints. Everyone involved is seeking to discover a common ground and reach an agreement to settle a matter or mutual concern. Let's talk about this. Hang on. Okay. Why does it want to do that to me? Sorry. Win-win or no deal. As a KW agent, you are always working to find a win-win solution for all parties. By being kind, fair, and professional, you have the best chance of reaching an agreement that is best for your clients. Finding common ground means that you, your clients, the co-op agent, and their clients are all getting what they need from the transaction. Path of a negotiation. There are two options after the offer is presented. Option 1, offer accepted, close. Option 2, offer rejected or countered, negotiation. And then from the negotiation, we go into accepted, rejected, and close, right? In the last Ignite session, you learned about offers. Simplified, when an offer is accepted, it moves through the process toward a close. However, if it isn't usually that simple. If an offer is rejected or countered, we negotiate with the other side to reach a win-win agreement for everyone. It's important to note that every transaction is unique, so negotiation may not always only happen at this point of the transaction. So what does that mean? Normally, I'm trying to think about my transactions. Most of my transactions have been countered. Normally, the seller doesn't like one or two pieces. Normally, it's the price. The good thing about the price is that that can be negotiated at a later time, especially if you're going into it with the inspection contingency. So let's say you offer 300,000 and the seller comes back saying, I want 310. Okay. And then you talk to your buyers and your buyer's like, absolutely not. I am not paying over 300,000. Well, let's just take a step back and look at this. We have an inspection contingency period and we can get the home inspection done and then get a laundry list of things that's wrong with the house and then go back and say, look, there is $30,000 worth of work on this property and we're asking you for 10 off the price. So we're meeting you more in the middle, not in the middle. We're just asking you for $10,000 when there's $30,000 worth of work. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's still room to negotiate after you've gotten into contract. Let me see my notes. Who you negotiate with, your clients, the agent on the other side of the transaction. You are always negotiating with your clients and with the agent on the other side. And don't forget, this is your career. And if you continue to conduct business in the same market, you are likely to encounter the same agents. So that goes back to be professional, be a nice human, you know, don't be like, hey, dummy, you know, like that sort of thing. We want to make sure that when we, when we, you know, get into another deal with another agent, that they're not like, oh, we're not working with Melinda. You know what I mean? And yes, you will have to negotiate with your clients. Because sometimes they can't see the big picture. Common points of negotiation, price and terms. Usually price is the primary factor. The cost of the property, terms, either financial, time-based, or both. The most common points of negotiations fall into one of the two categories, either pricing or terms. Pricing is usually, sorry, something came up, not now. Pricing is usually a primary factor in negotiations and is all about the cost of the property. Terms are either financial, time-based, or both. Examples can be closing costs, closing dates, repairs, etc. Any questions on this so far?
No.
Okay, we are going to learn the 3 Ps of negotiation. Prepare, present, position. Preparation is the key to building confidence and ensuring a smooth negotiation process. So what does that mean? I normally have that conversation with my clients, depending on the client, 3 or 4 times. I've been working with some buyers since August of last year. So we've been on a home search for almost a year. They have very specific needs. They have a specific school district they want to be in, not only school district, but a certain school that they want to be their home school. So when I tell you I have this conversation with them several times, you don't have to settle on the price right now. We can negotiate that at a later term, at a later time. So preparation is the key to building confidence and ensuring a smooth negotiation process, letting them know what to expect, letting them know that you are going to handle the entire process of negotiation. That right there will make them, a lot of people want to work with an agent and want to work with you, because are you telling me I don't have to be the bad guy? I don't have to be the one that goes to the other agent and tells them, no way, you're not going to get that amount of money out of me. That's going to help, right? Present, move into the negotiation process by presenting the offer. Position, move both parties closer until you have a full agreement. So a lot of the negotiations is going to be either via text or email with the agent, or it could be on the phone. But normally I'll have a conversation with the agent on the phone, and then we'll follow up, with a few text messages back and forth. Why does that happen? Because why would I write up a whole nother offer not knowing if your client is even going to entertain it? So what you hope for is that you have an agent that is truthful and will tell you these things and not string you along. Now, I always tell my clients, this is just what the agent is saying. At the end of the day, the seller or the buyer has the power, and they can say yes or no. Or let's say we gave them too much time to think on it. Maybe they've changed their mind now. So just letting them know that this could all change. The first P, prepare, details the actions and steps that you'll take before entering a negotiation. To prepare, you'll need to know your goal. Have a clear goal of reaching a win-win agreement in which both the buyer and the seller are satisfied with the outcome of the negotiation. It's a give and a take. Okay, so the seller needs this, the buyer needs this. Can we meet in the middle somewhere? Remind your client of their motivation for moving or buying the house, and that when the contract closes, they'll be able to move on with their lives. This is a very stressful time for them. Buying a house is a really big step in most people's lives. It's probably their biggest purchase. Okay, so this is going to be hard for them. Know your client. Make sure you fully understand your client's goals. That's why that buyer consultation is so important. Learn the areas in which they are willing to negotiate and where they will stand firm. Okay, so are you willing to negotiate a little bit on the price? Are you willing to negotiate a little bit on the terms? I would never suggest removing an inspection contingency, but maybe we can make it a shorter time period. Okay. Think ahead, anticipate what the other parties intend to get out of the negotiation. Write down how you think they may counter the offer and how you plan to handle it. Set clear expectations prior to meeting with the other party. Set clear and realistic expectations with your client. Then under promise and over deliver. Stress the importance of moving quickly to create a sense of urgency. Part of setting clear expectations with your client is being clear that win-lose agreements are likely to be rejected by the other side. I worked with a buyer who was a car salesman, and he was a tough one. We went through a few different offer situations, and he was strictly going to be the one that won. And I had that hard conversation with him, and I said, hey, you're gonna have to give a little, because it can't be a bad offer and only you win. So after that hard conversation, we got into contract and we closed on a property. So he was just so dead set on being the only one that wins. Sometimes they need to hear it, right? I will tell you that the part that sticks out for me in this is having a quick response time. I have been in several situations where I wasn't able to fully read the message that the other agent sent to me. And I followed up with, hey, I'm driving right now. I'm going to be a little bit delayed in getting back to you, but I did get your message. That's okay. I mean, it might not always be okay, but at least you are confirming that you've received the text. You have told them why you can't fully respond, and they know that you're working on it. Okay. Be informed. Before making an offer or counter offer, it's a good practice to speak with 2 other agents. Ask open-ended questions and use active listening to find out how much you can about the other party and their agent. This helps you know with whom you are negotiating, on what points you will negotiate, and where you and your client have leverage. Number 6, obey the laws. Every state and their locality have their own set of laws and regulate zoning, mortgage qualifications, blah, blah, blah. That's why we take the contracts classes, right? Number 7, know the documents inside and out. Inside and out. That's why I told you to go review those documents this weekend. That is your job. No one else's job but yours. Know those documents. Know the questions that are going to come up. If you have questions on it, your clients will have questions on it. Ask purposeful questions. Understanding the right questions to ask is important to the negotiation process and to being able to prepare in the most comprehensive way. Asking questions allows you to establish and uncover the objectives and goals of your clients and those on the other side of the transaction. By asking questions, you gain more information. As you gain more information, you will strengthen your ability to negotiate and increase your chances of having a win-win negotiation. Benefits of asking questions: provides you with the points you will negotiate on. It provides you insight on where you and your client will have leverage, sets clear expectations, allows you to get to know your client and their goal, helps you learn what will make it a win-win negotiation for both parties. We won a bid one time on a property. We were not the highest offer. They had an offer that was just slightly above ours. I never found out the amount, but we won the bid because I asked questions to the listing agent, and I just started asking questions, and he flat out told me, my client would love a rent back. My client would love to stay in the property for 2 weeks after closing. So we included that in our offer and we won. My client does not need to move right away, so it was okay. Make sense? Open versus closed questions. At a basic level, there are 2 types of questions: open-ended and closed-ended questions. Open-ended questions, they're questions that have unlimited response options. Examples: what additional information should I know? Well, we could be here for another hour, depending on the person you ask that to, right? What is important about closing in 30 days? How do you feel about that? Those are all open-ended questions. Close-ended questions, those questions that expect a specific response, often yes, no, or one word. Examples: do you have to sell your home by a specific date? Do you have any other offers? What is your bottom line price you will consider? That's pretty standard. What and why questions. Let's dig into some specific questions that can help you learn about your client's needs and create a focus for a negotiation. 2 options can be: what would happen if? Asking this question helps you anticipate the next steps of the negotiation. The next question says, why is this important to you? Asking this question helps you gain more information and insight into the previous questions. So this part asks you to work with a partner. This is another role play that you can do with someone, an agent in our office, your coach, your friend. We're not going to do that because we're not in person. I wish we were. Okay. Best practices when presenting. Now that you understand the prepare stage, let's talk about the second stage, present. Let's go over some best practices to keep in mind when presenting to the other agent. Call the other agent. Pay attention to nonverbal cues like pauses or voice qualities. Keep quiet once you present an offer. Listen carefully to what is important to the other party. Stay calm and relaxed. Focus on the customer's needs. Give your offer the best chance. Call the other agent. That just goes back to being in contact. Text them or call them. Hey, we submitted an offer. Just wanted to make sure you received it, blah, blah, blah. Pay attention to nonverbal cues like pausing and voice qualities. Keep quiet once you present an offer. What does that mean? Well, if you've given them 3 days, don't text them on day 2. Wait. Now, if it's been 3 days at 5 p.m., follow up. Okay, but let's not bug them every day. Listen carefully to what is important to the other party. Why is that important? Because it needs to be a win-win situation. If they say that they need that 2 weeks rent back and you don't remember it or you don't give it any attention and you don't present it to your client, that's not being helpful. Stay calm and relaxed. Your clients, all of your clients probably are going to overact. They're going to freak out. They're going to cry. They're going to cuss. They're going to do all the things. Can you do those things? Yes, but not in front of them. Stay calm and relaxed. You are the professional here, okay? So that's important to know as well. Focus on your customer's need. Give your offer the best chance. Now that we've covered the first 2 pieces of the 3 P's, we are ready to get into the third P, position. Positioning is about moving both parties closer until there is a total agreement. When you are engaged in this third step, you will acknowledge the common ground. You are looking for places where the buyer and seller are in agreement. This also helps uncover the areas that can be adjusted versus the ones that are set in stone. Then use what and how questions. These specific types of questions will help you better understand the priorities on the other side of the table. Understand that this is a process. Sometimes you will have to go back and forth multiple times to come to an agreement. I think that just goes back to being kind, being a nice human, being professional. Because then the negotiation process is easier, you know. You're not always going to work with an agent that is professional. There are a lot of different personality types, and some people are direct and to the point, and some people like to send emojis and say, thank you for being so nice, you know, but that both ways are fine as long as they're being professional as well. Acknowledge and affirm common ground. Ask what and how questions, know the positioning in a process, and know when to walk away. Know when to walk away. Well, you're probably going to be asked by your clients several times, what would you do? That's a hard question to ask me because I'm not in your position. I haven't thought about buying this house. I don't have the amount of money that you have in your bank account. There's a lot of different reasonings why it would be hard to say that. I will tell you that I was in a contract, or my client was in a contract on a property. We were in the inspection period. The house had been winterized. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that because I wasn't really. I mean, I kind of can guess what that means, but the house was in a rural area and no one had lived in the property for several years. Okay, so the water had been shut off. There was no electricity to the house. The seller needed to do A, B, and C in order for us to get the inspections done. Well, the seller of the property was a bank, and they didn't care. They didn't want or need to do anything. So we got into contract. They said that they were going to do A, B, and C. We had the inspection scheduled. Well, the listing agent had to call me and say, hey, we can't get water to the house. So I need another day because the guy's going to go back out there and he's going to try to get it back on, blah, blah, blah. He called me the next day and said, we can't get water on. Good luck. They weren't willing to do anything else. So I had to call my client and be like, hey, they can't get water onto the property, which means we can't really get the inspection done properly. And he was like, well, what should I do? And I was like, well, do you want to purchase the house in a truly as is situation? I had to explain to him, you're purchasing the house not knowing if it's going to cost you $1,000 or $50,000 to get water running to your property. Make sense? So knowing when to walk away just means you have to explain to them the situation that they're in, because they probably don't know. Let's see. They want us to role play again, which we're not going to do. Negotiation tips. Let's talk about that. It's important to remember that negotiating is a skill that is learned and practiced. When using the 3P approach, keep in mind these best practices. Above all else, be professional. Remember, your goal is a signed contract. This is what you're driving toward, and it's what both agents and their clients have in mind. Control what you say to everyone involved in the transaction. If you create anxiety in your client or other parties, you're reducing the leverage in your negotiations. Continually refer to motivation. Remind your client why they intend to buy or sell and help them reevaluate their request if they become unreasonable. They will become unreasonable. So
I just remember I've been on both ends when I was buying a house and when we were selling a house, and I picture, now that I'm a realtor, I'm like, okay, imagine getting a client like yourself. I was hysterical at a couple of points when they kept calling out things. And then things I didn't know when we were buying the house. My realtor was great. I love him. He was very, very patient. And so was my lender. So they made me feel calm when I didn't not feel, I was so stressed out. So I keep that in mind.
yeah.
And you know, how they worked with me, how they kept me calm, explained everything. They were really great.
Yep.
I was kind of a monster now that I think about it.
Which your clients will be too, and that's okay. That's why you stay calm and professional. If you need to have a breakdown, do it later when you get home, but you need to be, this part of your job needs to be calm and blah, 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 right? Okay, so number 5, don't reveal too much. Listen more than you talk. Keep your client's motivation close to your chest. Don't be attached to the outcome. You can't get everything you and your client need all the time. It won't happen. Don't let it affect your mindset if a deal doesn't go through or if your client doesn't act on your recommendation. Find a different win for your client.